Good morning. Just the inside of the store.
Two bodies were found right here at this store in Apopka on Friday evening, and we are still trying to figure out what happened.
She didn't deserve to die like that, period. Nobody does. She was fun. She was funny. She was cool to be around. You get what I'm saying? She didn't have a bad attitude. She had a loving spirit.
February 7th, 2026. A woman goes to work at the same store she's been at for years, smiling, joking with customers, being herself. Hours later, she's dead, killed by the one person she never thought would hurt her, her brother. No warning signs, no public beef, just a regular Friday that ended in a tragedy nobody saw coming. This is Shannita Swift's story.
My name is Shannita Swift, and I'm here at Griffin's General, where we've been open here for June to be 11 years. We specialize in hot, good breakfast and lunch all the way until 1. We have seafood here available and barbecue here on the weekends. Come by and see us.
You're watching True Crime Tragedies. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join us as we break down real crime stories that need to be told. Shannita Swift. Her friends? They called her Nita Bug. And look, if you ever met her, you'd get why that name stuck. She had this energy, you know? The kind that made you feel better just being in her presence. She worked at Griffin's General Store on West Michael Gladen Boulevard in Apopka. Not some big chain. A real neighborhood spot. The type of place where everybody knows your name. Where you don't just stop by for milk and bread, you stop by because you actually want to see who's behind that counter. And most of the time, it was Shannita. Now let me tell you something about this woman. One of her closest friends said it best. To know Shannita is to love her. She was one of a kind. When I say a friend with absolutely no disagreements, arguments, fallouts, or nothing, our friendship was the best. Read that again. No disagreements, no arguments, no fallouts, nothing. How many people you know like that in your whole life? Exactly. Victor, another one of her good friends, he described her the same way. Said she had this gift where she could walk into a room and just lift the whole mood. Even if you didn't tell her something was wrong, she'd say something funny and bring you right back up. That's just who she was. Another regular customer said every single time he saw Shannita behind that counter, she had a smile on her face. Every single time.
Person that's heartbroken, that, you know what I mean, a person that I called a friend, you know, a sister that she's gone. I share information on lotto numbers, you know. I mean, like, at that time, it's just who she was. She was just very outgoing and very inspirational.
This wasn't customer service training. This wasn't an act. This was who she was, naturally. Shannita had a daughter, had family who loved her, had friends scattered across different states, and even when distance separated them, she made sure to keep in touch. She'd check on their mothers, their sisters. If she changed her number, she'd make sure they got it. That's the kind of person she was. Intentional, present, loyal. Griffin's General Store had been open for 10 years straight. 10 years without closing. Not for holidays, not for emergencies. Nothing. That store was a staple in the community. And Shannita? She was a big part of why people kept coming back. Now, her brother Ezra, people called him Country E. He was known around the neighborhood too. Playful type. Always had a joke ready. The kind of dude who'd rough you up a little bit just playing around, you know what I'm saying? One of his exes described him like this. He was playful, always had a joke to throw out, and if he saw you, he made it known. He'd come up to you, start messing around, just being himself. Brother and sister. Same blood, same upbringing, same last name. Swift. On February 7th, 2026, that name would be attached to one of the most shocking tragedies Apopka had seen in years. Here's what makes this whole situation even harder to wrap your head around. There were no warning signs, At least none that anybody saw. No public fights between them. No family drama playing out on social media. No restraining orders. No police getting called to that store about brother-sister disputes. Nothing. People who knew both Shannita and Ezra. They didn't talk about tension, didn't mention any beef, didn't say, "Yeah, I could see something like this happening." Because nobody did. Friday, February 7th, started just like any other day. Griffin's general store opened its doors. Customers came in and out like always. Shannita was there doing what she always did. Working, smiling, making people feel welcome. Ezra was there too, at the store, with his sister. Victor stopped by that evening. It was around 6:30 in the evening when he left. Everything seemed normal. Shannita was her usual self. He had absolutely no reason to think that would be the last time he'd ever see her alive. But it was. Like somewhere between 6:30 p.m. and 9 p.m., everything changed. February 7th, 2026. Just before 9 at night, Apopka Police Department got a call. Something happened at Griffin's general store. Officers rushed to the scene on West Michael Gladen Boulevard. When they walked through those doors, they found two people dead inside, Shannita Swift and her brother, Ezra Swift.
Two bodies were found right here at this store in Apopka on Friday evening, and we are still trying to figure out what happened. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jabrell Baker. Now, you can see right here outside the store, there's people that have come up that have put flowers and candles in there, all to honor their mothers.
This store will never be the same for customer Clinton Stanley, since Apopka police found his favorite cashier and her brother dead inside Friday evening, and the cause is still a mystery.
I'm just a person that's heartbroken that, you know what I mean, a person that I called a friend, you know, a sister, that she's gone.
Detectives say it's still not clear whether the incident involved a homicide or a possible murder-suicide. I spoke with the father of one of the victim's 3 children off camera. He confirmed that his ex-wife worked here at the shop. Several, like Stanley, honoring her memory with candles, balloons, and more outside the store.
We might share information on lotto numbers, you know. I mean, like, at that time, it's just who she was. She was just very outgoing and very inspirational.
The father also confirms the victims were siblings. Stanley says that both were a joy to be around.
If you know her, you know she's going to lift your spirit up. You know, even her brother, like, you know, good people, man.
Now at first, police weren't saying much. In their initial update on Facebook, they told the public there was no ongoing threat. Said it was unclear whether this was a double homicide or a possible murder-suicide. They needed time. Needed to collect evidence, talk to witnesses, wait on forensics. But the store owner, he knew. See, he wasn't there when it happened. But when police finally cleared the scene and he walked into his store, he saw what went down. And according to him, there was a shooting inside.
She loved to come to work. She always was on time and no issues with her. Great worker. She came in, she got right to work, no problem. They bump heads a little, but not much. Not that I saw from what she's telling me, but not in public.
The community was in shock, complete disbelief. People started showing up at the store even though it was closed. They brought balloons, candles, flowers. A memorial started growing right there on the sidewalk outside Griffin's general store. For the first time in 10 years, that store wasn't open for business. Victor couldn't wrap his head around it. I'm still trying to process this, you know, because he was a really, really good friend of mine and he was a really, really good person. Wait. Victor was talking about Ezra, not Shannita. Ezra was his friend too. Marvin Prince, another regular at the store, said what everybody was thinking. I pray and hope that they find and figure out what happened here, because this is just unbelievable. For that time of night. The store is open. A lot of people is around here. So I don't understand why nobody don't know nothing. But somebody knows something. But somebody knows something. He was right. Somebody did know something. But here's what made it worse. By Monday, February 10th, Apopka police had finished their investigation. They posted an update, and this time they weren't holding back. The evidence collected at the scene, witness statements, forensic findings, all of it confirmed the same devastating truth. This was a domestic murder-suicide. Ezra Swift walked into Griffin's general store on that Friday night, shot his sister, Shannita, and then turned the gun on himself. Man, let that sink in for a second. A brother killed his sister at her job, then took his own life. How did we get here? One of Shannita's friends posted online, and her words captured what everybody was feeling. Who would want to kill her? She's a sweetheart and loved people unconditionally. Exactly. Who would want to kill her? The answer was her brother, and nobody knows why. There was no public explanation, no note, no manifesto, no history of violence between them that anyone talked about. Ezra's ex said they hadn't seen each other in a long time, that they went their separate ways in life. But there was no bad blood between them. She never expected anything like this to happen to him. She said if he saw her, he'd make it known, all playful and joking around. So what changed? What happened in those 2.5 hours between Victor leaving at 6:30 p.m. and police finding 2 bodies at 9 p.m.? We don't know, and that's the part that haunts people the most. Shannita's daughter posted a message online asking for privacy and respect for her mother and her uncle during this time. She said she didn't have much to say. What could she say? Her mother was gone. Her uncle was gone. And the only person who could explain why this happened was dead too. The investigation didn't take long, and honestly, that made it worse. When police deal with a murder-suicide, especially one this clear-cut, the forensic evidence tells the story faster than witnesses ever could. Shell casings, blood spatter patterns, gunshot residue, the position of the bodies, the weapon itself. All of it pointed to the same conclusion. Apopka police collected everything they needed from the scene that Friday night. They interviewed witnesses, people who were in the area, people who knew the siblings. They reviewed any surveillance footage available. They talked to the store owner who saw the aftermath. And by Monday afternoon, February 10th, they had their answer. The post went up on Apopka Police Department's Facebook page. Short, direct, final. This was a domestic murder-suicide involving 2 adult siblings. Ezra Swift fatally shot his sister, Shannita, then took his own life. Case closed. But see, that's the thing about murder-suicides. The case might be closed for police, but for everybody else, for the family, the friends, the community, that case stays open forever. Because the one person who could answer why is gone. There was no trial coming. No day in court where prosecutors would lay out a timeline, present evidence, explain motive. No defense attorney arguing circumstances. No jury deliberating guilt or innocence. Ezra was the perpetrator and the only witness to his own crime, and he made sure nobody would ever get his side of the story. The detectives did their job. They confirmed what happened. But they couldn't tell anyone why it happened. And that's the part that keeps people up at night. Victor, the friend who saw Shannita just hours before she died, said it himself. It's like unbelievable that something like this could happen to such a wonderful person. Unbelievable. That's the word that kept coming up. Because how do you believe that a brother would do this to his sister? How do you reconcile the playful, joking Ezra that people knew with the man who walked into that store and pulled a trigger? You can't. That's the thing. You just can't. The memorial outside Griffin's general store kept growing. More balloons, more candles, more flowers. People who hadn't been to that store in months showed up just to pay their respects, to leave something, to be part of the collective grief. Because when something like this happens in your community, you feel it. Even if you didn't know Shannita personally, you knew about her. You heard about the woman with the smile, the woman who made everyone feel welcome, the woman who didn't have beef with anybody. And now she was gone, killed by family. One of Shannita's friends posted online and her words hit different. "I cried literally all night because who would want to kill her? She's a sweetheart and loved people unconditionally." All night, crying, trying to make sense of it. And you know what the cruelest part is? There was nothing to make sense of. No logic, no explanation that would ever feel sufficient. And Shannita did nothing wrong. She was at work, at her job, in a place she'd been for years. And her brother decided that was the night. That was the moment. Why? We'll never know. Some people in the community speculated. You know how it goes. People start talking. Mental health, financial stress, family secrets, relationship problems, substance abuse. People throw out theories because the silence is too heavy to carry. But none of that was confirmed. None of it was documented. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Because even if there was a reason, even if there was some explanation buried in Ezra's mind, it wouldn't justify what he did. It wouldn't bring Shannita back. It wouldn't heal her daughter. It wouldn't undo the trauma. It is what it is. And what it is a tragedy that didn't have to happen. Ezra's ex-girlfriend posted her own tribute online. She said they hadn't seen each other in a long time, that they went their separate ways in life. No bad blood, just distance. She said she would never wish anything like this to happen to him. That if he saw her, he'd make it known, all playful, wanting to rough people up, always with a joke. She wrote, "This seems crazy as hell putting R.I.P. in front of your name, so I'm going to say S.I.P. Ezra Swift. Sleep in peace." Even in death, even knowing what he did, people struggled with the duality. The Ezra they knew versus the Ezra who committed murder. That's the complexity of these situations. People aren't just one thing. Somebody can be funny, playful, a good friend, and still be capable of unimaginable violence. That's the part we don't talk about enough. We want people to be all good or all bad, but life doesn't work like that. People are layered, complicated, and sometimes those layers hide something dangerous. And the people who get hurt, they're usually the ones closest to them. Shannita trusted her brother. Had to. He was family. He was there at the store with her. She probably never saw it coming. Never thought for a second that the person standing next to her would be the one to end her life. But that's how domestic violence works. It happens behind closed doors, between people who know each other, love each other, share blood with each other. And when it ends in death, it leaves nothing but questions and grief. Griffin's general store eventually reopened. Life goes on, right? Bills still need to be paid, customers still need their groceries, and the neighborhood still needs that corner store, but it's different now. How could it not be? Every time someone walks through those doors, they remember. They remember the woman who used to stand behind that counter. The woman with the smile. The woman who made them feel seen. Shannita Swift's impact on her community didn't die with her. If anything, her death magnified it, made people realize what they had, what they lost. Her daughter is growing up without her mother, processing a grief that no child should have to carry, dealing with the reality that her uncle, someone she probably loved, took her mother away from her. Shannita's friends are living with the weight of that last conversation, that last hug, that last smile, wondering if there was something they missed. Some sign, some cry for help they didn't hear. There wasn't. But they'll wonder anyway. That's what survivors do. The Apopka community learned something that Friday night. Something they probably already knew but didn't want to believe. Domestic violence doesn't always look like what you think it does. It's not always a husband and wife. It's not always a boyfriend and girlfriend. Sometimes it's siblings. Sometimes it's parents and children. Sometimes it's people you'd never suspect. And it doesn't always come with warning signs. No police reports, no hospital visits, no 911 calls. Sometimes it's quiet, hidden, festering in places nobody can see until it's too late. Shannita Swift deserved better. Her friend said it plainly. She didn't deserve to die like that. Period. Nobody does. She deserved to grow old, to watch her daughter grow up, to keep spreading that light she carried everywhere she went, to keep making people smile, to keep being the friend with no arguments, no fallouts, no drama. She deserved to live. But Ezra Swift took that from her. Took it from her family. Took it from her community. And then he took himself out, leaving everyone else to pick up the pieces he shattered. There's no neat ending here. No justice served. No closure. Just absence. Just loss. Just the painful reminder that the people we love the most can sometimes hurt us the worst. And for the Swift family, for Shannita's daughter, for her friends, for everyone who knew and loved her, the question will always remain. Why? Maybe one day they'll make peace with not knowing. Maybe they'll find a way to remember Shannita for who she was instead of focusing on how she died. And maybe the pain will dull enough that they can breathe again. But that Friday night, February 7th, 2026, that date is carved into their hearts forever. Griffin's general store is open again. The memorial outside has been cleared away. Life in Apopka keeps moving forward. But Shannita Swift, she's gone. And the woman who brought light to everyone around her left behind a darkness nobody saw coming. Rest in peace, Nita Bug. You deserved so much better. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-800-7-997-233. You don't have to face this alone. And if this story impacted you, if it made you think, if it reminded you to check on the people you love, then subscribe to True Crime Tragedies. We tell the stories that need to be told. It's the ones that hurt, the ones that matter. Because these aren't just cases. These are real people, real families, real communities forever changed. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. And remember, sometimes the biggest threat isn't a stranger on the street. Sometimes it's the person sitting right next to you.